Good morning, Principal Ma'am, Asha Ma'am, Shivda, and all the teachers present today. St. M.R. Jaipuria School expresses immense gratitude in welcoming Mr. Shiv Kumar to the school to enlighten us with his thoughts and wisdom. Mr. Shiv Kumar is the Director, Indian Council for Integral Education at Sri Aurobindo Society and National Director of Oro Youth Wing of Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry. After completing his graduation in mechanical engineering, a diploma in computer-aided design, and a 5-year stint in the corporate world, Mr. Shiv Kumar decided to turn his attention exclusively to an experiential understanding and practice of Indian spirituality. In the year 2001, he joined the Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, and has since then been engaged in bringing about a deeper change in the field of education. He conducts workshops and camps on the integral education for principals, educationists, teachers, parents, and students. Besides organizing camps and workshops, he has undertaken several projects in the field of education at Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry. I take this opportunity to invite Mr. Shiv Kumar on stage to spread true education which facilitates soul-directed growth.
Good morning and namaste. I would have loved to have some kind of a personal introduction with each one of you, but that is going to wait for some more time, probably in my next visit. But what we are going to do today is a brief introduction to integral education. I know you have already been bombarded so much with integral education, so that somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, you are going to wake up telling that what is the first principle of integral education, nothing can be taught, and the ones. But we will do it in a way where how to make it more effective. I don't want to tell you is integral education, you already know. You know what is integral education? You also know what is integral education? You also know what is integral education? I have not yet really understood what is integral education, and I have been trying to enter into it for the last, 22 years almost, and every time I go into it, I see that there is something more to be understood, so I am still going deeper and deeper, and it is a mystery the more you enter into it. It is not a mystery when you are scratching the surface. So we might be thinking that we are actually doing the integral education in all its aspects, but the mystery will become apparent to you the moment you go deeper into it. And that decision is completely yours. Would you like to scratch on the surface, or would you like to go a little deeper into it? Because it is in the depths that the complete mystery is revealed, and then we get a glimpse of what integral education is. But there is one thing that I can tell you, that integral education is not something that we are supposed to do with children alone. If we think that this is an education we are meant to give to children, somewhere our first step that we are taking up is in the wrong direction. The first step in integral education is, who will complete my sentence? There are no right and wrong answers. I'm not going to give you marks, so feel to
look within ourselves.
And when you say to look within, how do you look within?
We are role model for our children. So
Step by step. So we can look outside. Why do we look outside? What do we get to know when we look outside? What happens when you look outside?
awareness of the surrounding.
You get to know what is there. So where is Principal Ma'am sitting? You get to know that important person. So you mark, and then where is Mitali sitting? Where is Mitali? Another important person. You become aware, and then you begin to understand, okay, she is meant for this, and she is meant for this, and you are meant for this. And then, I don't know whether it is here or not, there is always one teacher. You call them yourself as teachers or didis or facilitators? Teachers, facilitators. So there is always one facilitator. It used to happen when I was part of another place. She is the go-to person. So whenever you get stuck, you know that you will get help from that person every time you get stuck with your teaching. We have one such facilitator in our Center of Education, and she is only 86 years old, but she comes to the class regularly, and the way she receives children, it's a joy to watch. So she will be standing at the entrance of the kindergarten school, and no child can pass through that entrance. It's a small door. See, ours is not a big one. It's almost like a house with a normal compound wall and a door. Every child who comes, she is already 86. She has developed some problems in the knee. But she will put a chair and then she will sit there. And then as soon as the child comes, she will take the help of something, the side by rails, get up and then hug the child and say a couple of words, and then the child is allowed to enter into the classroom. You see the beauty of where did she get that kind of a motivation and idea from? But when we come back to what we are doing, there are always things that are around us. We become aware of it. When we become aware of it, we can interact with them. Yes or no? You want something to be done in the classroom? Do you go to the principal, ma'am, or to Mithali? First, whom do you go? It's not Mithali, it is Mithali. Okay, fine. Depends. You have some electrical failure, or let us say water is leaking, which is something that you can relate to. When you're taking the class, water starts leaking. Whom do you go to? Yes? Alka, ma'am.
Go to the right connect.
You go to the right connect simply because would you be able to do it if you are not become aware of who is who, what is where? It's very difficult, isn't it? And it's important to become aware of. But when she says, look into ourselves, what happens when you look into yourself? I'm sure you have been looking into yourself for several years by now. I would like to know something that you have figured it out. So inside you, where Mithali ma'am is sitting and where Pramanidhi is sitting, somebody who is equivalent, not exactly taking them as examples. What have you figured it out? Who would like to share? Have you figured it out? What is the most, sorry, go, come. Would you like to share? What are those plus points?
Like to get aware about our strength, like if we have the strength of being patient.
So what is the strength you have discovered?
To be patient with the children.
To be patient with children, okay.
And to lend our ears. Sometimes what happens is we have to give time to the children.
Mm-hmm.
Often what they are trying to say in the rush of time, we don't pay attention to that. And in spite of that, like we should, I have discovered in myself that, I have to give time. Whatever the child is saying may not be exactly what he's, it's according to the situation, but it could be a result of something else.
Okay, we simplify. So she discovered patience as one of her strengths. Was it already sitting there waiting for you to discover? How much patience was there? As much as you wanted, or was it a little smaller in quantity? So when you wanted to practice patience, exercise it with children, did you find that there was enough patience? Or did you find that only a limited quantity was there? Maybe I had to develop it, increase it a little more. Anybody else who would like to share what did they become aware of when they started looking within for the last several years? Who would like to share? Yes, please.
I've always felt that I'm the happiest when there are plants and trees around me.
Okay.
There may be people around me at that point of time or may not be.
Okay.
And when I am amidst plants and trees, like even now, if I look at the trees outside, it makes me very happy. So happy that I cannot describe that happiness. And then if someone comes and if it is, I feel going against me, or if in any way it is disturbing, it should disturb me, it doesn't disturb me.
Okay.
I am able to come out of it and I am able to solve that problem in a better manner.
Okay.
But if I am in closed confines, if I am in a room where I have a lot of gadgets and a lot of lights and somebody very loud around me, then I lose my balance, I feel.
Okay.
I am not able to solve that problem.
Okay, interesting.
my own problem, and if anyone else comes for help, I'm not able to align myself to that person. So I have to be outside, I have to look outside the window, or I have to sit outside to be able to connect with myself, to have that feeling of compassion, a lot of love, and understanding for anything around me.
That's quite a lot of things that she has become aware of, isn't it? Connecting oneself to the love somewhere inside, bringing about a balance. And if you want to know how to bring about a balance, you have to be aware of what goes up beyond the permissible level and what comes down beyond the permissible level, and then you will have to bring up what is lacking and then bring down what is overshooting. But I want to, anybody else would like to, because it's an important thing. So looking within is not something that everybody does. Yes? Do they look within whenever something happens? Yes or no? It's a very quiet group. I just heard when I was in the assembly that I asked the children that what would you like to do when you get up in the morning? And then one side child, I want to sleep more. Such a sweet answer. Very honest, straightforward answer, and there is a joy in it too. And I think there are a lot of people here still. Are you still sleepy? Or you have come out of... Okay, yes. So when you looked within, what did you discover? What did you become aware of?
To be very honest, when I look within me, I always try to discover how much I have grown. What I had in the past, and what I am going through in the present, all the ups and downs I have been through, all good and bad experiences I have been through, how much confidence I have gained, and this is what I always, when I look into me, I try to
so give a couple of examples. What did you find, which things did you find grown a little more than probably a couple of years back? Confidence, your confidence has grown?
Yes, differentiating between good and bad.
Differentiating?
Yes,
is confidence a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. Overconfidence is bad.
Overconfidence is a bad thing, but confidence is good. I have seen so many people, because I've worked in the corporate sector too. I have seen so many people confidently lying. Why? They've been given training how to be confident. There have been people who confidently lie. There have been people who confidently cheat. There have been people who confidently harm others. Is confidence a good thing or a bad thing? Okay. How many would say confidence is a good thing? Raise your hands now.
Confidence is a good thing.
Wait, no answers, just yes or no. Overconfidence is anything that is over is not good, but confidence? So whatever we want to do, we want to do it confidently. Yes? And how? How many would say that confidence is not a good thing?
Every time you cannot do it confidently.
Interesting, isn't it? If you say yes, something inside you tells that, because you see a lot of people, you know the advertisements which come in the TV? They are all confidently done. If you don't make anything confidently, especially in the corporate sector, you are out. So they are confidently putting ideas into us, things into us, and then we get brainwashed confidently. Is it good? If I say yes, I feel that somewhere it is not okay. But if I say no, something inside tells me that I want confidence. So confidence by itself, is it good or bad?
Until and it's not harming us.
Really? Until and unless something has to be there. Because by itself, it's like a knife. It can cut or it can bring relief. By itself, we call these as neutral qualities, neutral values, which is mistakenly interpreted as a positive value, usually all over. Because when we do something which is not, shouldn't feel confidence, we should feel uneasy. Yes or no? When we hurt others, immediately we should feel that uneasiness. At that time, if you feel confident, you will go and hurt one more person. Yes? When you felt that, you must feel uneasy somewhere. Yes or no? And if you don't feel uneasy when you tell a lie, something somewhere is not okay. There are a lot of things which is going around which carry the name of good. But by itself, it is not, it has to be, something has to be there, and that is what we are going to discover what it is today. It will be an important, be a very interesting story. Anybody else would like to share? I think we'll get. So the question is, when you looked within, so you must have discovered a lot of things, and we are really interested in what are the types of things that one discovers. And is there one thing or a couple of things which are the most important? Like when you look at everybody here, there are one or two people who are there holding the fort, so to say, isn't it? Okay, this is the boss. Not boss in the sense that always, but this is somebody who holds a fort, and this is somebody, and then we come back. So what did you discover when you looked within?
I may be grown up, like physically, but I still feel
there's a child in you.
Definitely is a child in me.
Naughty child, happy child.
Altogether, a complete child.
How many have discovered the child inside? It doesn't think, like an adult, intelligent and then methodically and logically. Sometimes it comes out, you just want to do for the heck of it. Yes? Sometimes you are adventurous. There's no reason and rhyme for it. Sometimes you feel like getting up and dancing. Do you do that when it rains? How many dance when it rains? I'm happily surprised, which is the totally opposite of what we see in Tamil Nadu. The moment 1 or 2 drops of rain come, everybody will say, oh, it's raining, let's go inside, rush, rush, rush. Because the opposite of it is there too much. It's been always, the sun has always been blazing. So 1 drop of water looks like you are put in the freezer straight away. And therefore, they immediately come, so you will catch cold, you will catch fever, rush, rush, rush. And they put that fear into the child, so that the child, unfortunately, also does it. But I'm happy all of you have discovered the inner child.
The child and...
What, any characteristic, special characteristic of the child? Because each, like with children whom we deal with whom we spend time, they all have their own quirkiness, isn't it? Characteristic. The same way, your inner child also must be having certain things. So she's going to first share what is the quirkiness of her inner child, and then perhaps other things.
I feel happy, like I want to do certain things which I restrain myself from doing, thinking, oh, maybe this is not the right time to do it. What will others think? And there's certain fears which I daily am trying to overcome. As a child, you have, should I do this? I have to take a decision before really doing it in front of others. Maybe that fear I am trying to recover, overcome everything.
Interesting. This is what is called working under pressure, because you have to do a certain thing in a certain way. And do children like to be under pressure? Anybody here likes? But if you notice some of the adults, you could see that some of them will telling you, I work always better under pressure. If somebody is there to tell me what is to be done, how it is to be done, I feel comfortable. But leave me to myself, I am all over the place, I am good for nothing. But somebody has to be there. This doesn't come from children, isn't it? It's interesting. Something precious is there in the child. Perhaps that is what makes a child, which we will have to discover. Thank you for sharing. What we are going to do is, we are going to do an interesting exercise. And what we will discover in this exercise is what the mother has asked us to do. I'm going to read one quotation. This is the question which mother has put up. It goes like, what for you is the most important thing in your life? What for you is the most important thing in your life? Something that you say you cannot live without it. You understood the question? What for you is the most important thing in your life, that which you cannot live without? There's not one such thing. There are several things. Yes or no? Honestly. So what I would like you to write down is, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. List down 5 most important things in your life. And it could be a person, it could be an action, like I have to sing. Singing is the most important thing in your life. It could be a place, or it could be something else too. Anything under the earth. What for you are the most important things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it take long to know what are the 5 most important things in our life? Must be there at the tip of the fingers, right? No? There we are. We are becoming aware of that. Lot of things will depend on this discovery. That's why we are doing it today. Quite a lot. It could even be a principle. Truthful. Being truthful is the need of my life or the important. So just list it out. 5 is too little? Okay, top 5. Top 5. Top 5. See, the organizers usually have multiple tracks. Some of us 1, 2, 3, 4, but the organizers usually think in multiple tracks. That's why too many things are coming to her. What for you is the most important thing in your life? Things that you say that I cannot live without. You list out the top 5. And it could be a person or an action like singing, dancing, or a principle that you hold on to, or an object that is too dear to me. I can never live without my mobile phone, iPhone 6, 7. Has anybody here written mobile phone? If I take away the mobile phone from you for 1 full week, then you will come and change your list and include it. Let me tell you. Done? Is there anybody to finish yet? Just put up your hand so that I know. You are scratching all over here. So others were scratching here. You are. Go ahead. Go ahead. And those who have already written the list, just to see whether you have left out somebody or something. Sometimes it happens. Suddenly it can, oh my God, how can I forget that thing? So if it happens, go ahead and then modify the list, because we need only the top 5. Is there a clock here somewhere? So 11:30 we will stop. And if you give me a signal at 11:20. Who else is yet to complete? Put up your hand. You are pulling your ears. It won't come out, whatever, but you can try. You can try whatever helps you. Pulling your ear, scratching your. Have you finished it? So Smriti? No, not now. Now, we'll go for a second round. I would like you to think once again, and I'm going to tell you that sorry, you don't have this many options. You have the option of selecting only 3 most important things in your life. And therefore, it is up to you to drop 2 which are relatively not that important. Sorry, what was that? Was that my inner voice? So many things are to be discovered. What was the voice?
It's time for the 3rd period. It's announced everywhere, so you can't switch this off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were talking about inside and the voice comes out. I thought it must be coming from somewhere inside. I will give you 3 more minutes, because you are in a certain sense dropping away poor bechara. Who you are dropping or what you are dropping, I don't know. 3 out of the 5 most important. Now when you are making that 3, if you want to modify it a little bit or rephrase it a little bit, it is up to you, because fine tuning is always permissible. So now out of the 5, you write down the 3 top most important things in your life. Pramaniti is in deep trouble. She already had 100 things in her mind. She arrived at 5 with difficulty. Just like that. They were the 5 most important, and 2 aisa hi chhod diya. Without a second thought. Exactly. I know you will do it. This is what.
I am just replacing.
I will tell you what she has done. Come. So we say good morning to Kriti. She has just woken up. No, I think she had a lot of things to do. Welcome, Kriti. And we are going to welcome you with a question. The question of your life. Your take out your notebook, pen. In the Pondicherry workshop, we receive lots of people who come from different backgrounds. And at times, when you are in Pondicherry, it's one place which unsettles you completely. Initially, you lose yourself. And you have to lose yourself in order to find yourself. And that's the beauty of Pondicherry. Because we keep thinking ourselves that I'm this, I'm so-and-so, I'm this type of a person. And it unsettles it a little bit, especially the workshop that happens there. And simply because it gives you another opportunity to rediscover perhaps a deeper person that is you. And we have had a few people attending the most recent workshop. Kriti was one of them. And Hema. Hema is another one. Right. So the question, did you tell her the question? So you're going to do it a little faster. Kriti, Suno? All right. So is there anybody who is still having difficulty what to drop, whom to drop? Yes?
Or club together.
Or club? No, you cannot do the and, no. If you have written it, please strike off. I want this and this and this. That is not 1 point, that is 2 points, and that is called cheating. Not allowed. Has anybody written and? Because that way all the 5 will get compressed. Rephrase it if you have written and. That's not permissible. Are we ready to share? No, I'm not ready because I want you to do one more step. And this time, क्या करना है? The one most important thing for you in your life without which you cannot live. You cannot live without it. The most important thing, take all the time you want because it is an important discovery that we will be making. Mother calls it as, it's a very interesting discovery. You are in trouble, huh? Okay. Now we will have some sharing. Who would like to share the first 5 list and what are the 3 that they arrived at? And also your own way of looking at things. Feel free to share.
The first one was my mother and my sister. I will include that in one, right?
Okay.
Family.
Okay. Family is a little vague term because we usually have 2 families, right? The in-laws and outlaws. Should we call them? I don't know why they call them as in-laws, frankly. But we do have more freedom in the outlaw category. Yes.
My second one was good food.
Good food. Ooh. I can't live without it.
And then my third one was respect. It's very important for me.
Respect for you or for somebody closer to you?
No, for me.
You have to be respected.
Yes. And because I am giving that, so I want that in return.
Okay.
It goes 1 on 1. Then my fourth is vacation. Vacation is really very important. Once a year is very, very important.
Okay.
And
do you get it?
Yes, we do get that.
Because when you go back, you will have in-laws to take care of it. So it's not really a vacation.
I'm not married. I'm still single. I'm unmarried.
Oh, you're unmarried. You have only one law, which is the outlaw category. So you can take as much vacation as possible now because later it becomes difficult. Yes, sir?
Well, we get good, ample days, like we have 2 months, May, June. We have best.
Nice.
Then my job, of course, it has given me a lot of things.
Okay.
It's the most important part.
Okay. So we have 5.
Yeah, then I had left good food, of course. And
something that you do at least 3 to 4 times a day.
But still we can survive, we can have chapati and...
You can.
I survive.
Okay, good.
Then
was that a possibility earlier? Before making this list? If necessary, you can. Okay. Upset your total balance? Pagal ho jayenge if you work for 12 months in a year. It will make you less pagal and then therefore, but probably the work also, it's not too much of a pressure from here, right? Yes, you are saying that because how many days?
I have taken so many leaves this month. No, you don't. I had to get my sister's admission done, and I had taken so many leaves, and I am very blessed.
You're all lucky, I tell you. You don't know how lucky, because I have visited so many schools and interacted with so many teachers. You have no idea of the pressure they are working in. They are inside a pressure cooker all the time. I'm putting it mildly.
And one thing is also the most important. My mother and my sister.
Your mother and sister, because they are the support.
Yes.
Constant. Okay. Anybody else would like to? Each 3 is something which you can share, but from 3 to 1, if you don't feel like it, have the freedom. All right? So, she has already grabbed.
My family.
In-law.
Outlaws.
Okay, not yet married.
Yeah.
Is it a trend that if you are not married, you love your family? No? Okay, fine.
Second, my dog. He's an inseparable part
What's the
of
name?
my life. Joy.
Oh, wonderful.
Third, my friends.
Okay.
Because family drives you crazy sometimes, so you need your friends to keep you sane.
Repeat that. Family does drive you sane. And is it
Family drives you crazy, so you need your friends to.
So between you and the family, is it a mutual thing, or only they drive you crazy?
Mutual. Then coffee. I can't function without coffee.
Really? My mother used to be like that. And most of the women in Tamil Nadu, when they wake up, if their system has to function, there has to be either Narasus coffee or brew coffee. Which brand is yours?
Cold coffee.
Cold coffee. Okay.
Then my phone.
Mobile phone. Good. I was looking for it because we have not really experienced how we would feel if we don't have mobile phone for, let us say, 1 week or even 10 days. If I don't have it for a couple of days, so many difficulties come in. I would love to have it. It's one of the top 5 list, but I can choose not to have it also.
Okay,
so which
then I had
two?
to cut down on coffee and phone because they're materialistic, and you can try to live without them. But
Because they are materialistic, what is wrong with them being
I
materialistic?
can even imagine my life without coffee.
Okay.
If to choose out of these 5 options.
Okay.
So I had to cut down on coffee and
Coffee
phone.
and mobile?
Yeah.
And the family stays? Joy stays?
Joy stays and
Friends also stay.
Yeah.
Now it's getting difficult.
Now, getting to the one and only, my family, including my dogs.
Not that.
Part of my family. Yeah,
So you chose to let go of joy?
no, I don't. My family, including my dog.
That is cheating.
I can't.
you will
Yeah,
have
they're
to.
part of my family.
That way you say friends are also part of your family.
They're not.
They are not.
They're not.
Why? What makes a family family? When friends are not family, and joy is family, and the family is family, what makes them family and not family?
I don't know.
That relation.
But do you feel it? With friends, don't you feel that belongingness? When your best friend is there, when your close friends are there?
What makes family family?
Something, blood relation. So how does it translate into life? So when you say blood relation, what does it signify? What does it translate into? You say they are affectionate, and even if you irritate them, they won't say that, no, I'm giving up on you, you're not my son anymore. Because a friend can always say, you can choose somebody else. Is it because of that or something else?
Playing together.
Okay.
We are close friends and our blood groups are also.
Oh, that. She doesn't mean the blood group. Did you mean the blood group? Because then you will have 1 million people there as your family members.
I think they always have my back.
What makes somebody a family?
Love and care.
Most important thing is the love.
See, that happens with friends also.
Our unconditional love.
You get that in family.
Yes, we
If I do anything wrong, the first thing my mother will say, she will give me a 2 and then she will kick me out, and afterwards she will come. But that is not being unconditional.
Whatever you do, they will be always there for you. Friend and family. That is what.
Nikita. Nikita. Nikita.
These are important things. If we don't have clarity, who is a family? There are 2 families, I say. There is a family which happens to be there in spite of ourselves because we are born into, and there is a family that we make. And we cannot have 2 values to date. And the value has to be love and care. Isn't it? So they are a family that we create, and there's a family that we are given. And in the family that we are given, if there is no love and care, obviously they are not there. We can't look at them as family anymore. If there is no love and care, and if there is hatred, and somebody, what do you call parai, somebody who is a stranger, if he has that kind of a love and care, that builds a family that you create.
You don't get unconditional love from them. If
You don't get.
them love and care, they will give it in return. But if family and true friends are there, they give you unconditional love.
True friends.
No matter what you are, no matter what you do, they will
And
be
that
always
is
there for
what
you.
makes a family family. What she has said is true love and care, which is an important discovery that we have made just now. Okay? So even if you have friends who can give you the same, they are equally family. So among family and joy, you couldn't figure out okay. Now you add friends also, because you will not be able to figure out, because we have found that love and care is what makes a family family. And 2 types we have to recognize. One we are born with, and one we have the freedom to make. Yes, anybody else would like?
First is reading.
Reading. Anything specific or any reading? Like morning newspaper?
No, spiritual books.
That has to be specific. So reading, spirituality based books.
And traveling.
Traveling to any place or something specific? Place or shahar, city?
No, basically it has to do something
With nature. Okay.
Third is actually nature.
Okay. Nature itself.
Fourth is me time. I can't function without me time.
What is this me time? Do you all need me time?
Yes.
Everybody needs it? Okay.
And lastly,
Who are you with when you are saying me time? You find how much time can you on an average spend with yourself? 2 days with yourself? Me time? That's too much on an average. One day, how many would need 1 day? They can have the me time, and then they are so happy with the me, and then 1 day they don't know how the day went, and it's too much. So 1 hour, or it's too less? 2 hours. 2 hours me time, and other than that we can't put up with ourselves, right? How are everybody else putting up with us for such a long time? Just imagine the family, and we can't put up with ourselves for more than 2 hours. Poor people. We are imposing ourselves on the family and then friends. How many hours do we spend? Isn't it? So the me time, that's a nice one.
and then last teaching oblique facilitator. Teaching.
Oblique facilitator. Okay. It's a tough list. But 1 or 2 is already overlapping. I could see that. Yes.
Yeah, so one goes away. I can do without reading, but
Okay.
oh sorry, I can do without traveling.
Okay.
Reading is important. Then again, me time can't function without, and teaching.
So which are the 2 things you let go? Traveling?
Traveling and nature, because that comes but traveling comes with nature, right?
Okay. Okay. So just have to travel to a nature-filled place, and you are a hit to go. And then
The last thing that I figured out was teaching, because this is what I understood, that through teaching it enables me to get all these things. Like I've got a lot of things through teaching.
Interesting. You would say that it gives a purpose to your life?
All these 5 things I could gather in this last one.
Very interesting. Something that gives purpose to the life. That's how she puts it as a teaching. Very nice.
It's basically spending time amidst nature to find a solution to all the wrongs I have done during the day. So
You find
morning,
solutions in nature
yes,
for things that went wrong.
because that puts me so much at peace. I'm quiet inside, outside, everywhere.
Has
Then-
nature ever given you solutions to life's problem, or is it not connected with? See, it might have given you a quiet time where you yourself find a solution, which is different thing. Has nature given you a solution?
Of course, it is like antidepressant. When you go in sunshine, it soothes you inside, it calms you down, and then you are in that state that you can find better solutions.
Has nature ever taught us anything directly, or it only gives us calm where something comes from? Lot of things we have.
You learn from nature.
I am digressing, but when I say nature, as a child, I remember specifically in classes 9 to 12, I used to sit in the porch of my house and observe the tree line and the birds going back to their homes. Now I am a morning person, but I was never a morning person as a child. Yes, late at night, I've always tried to finish my work in the night before sleeping. So I have a fear that if I don't finish it and in the morning I'm not able to get up, then what will happen? So, and it still persists with me. So it's an everyday struggle for me to come to school in the morning. So I used to observe trees and find those curves, and I always felt probably somewhere nature is telling me that there are highs and lows in life. I associated so many things with simply that skyline, that line of the trees, outline of the trees, and there has to be harmony even though there are highs, ups, lows in people at all levels. I took all these things from there. Then I'm very fond of looking at trees, especially in the springtime, because every tree will have leaves of different colors, and therein again you feel that among differences there is a similarity and there is a root. So all these things I've always thought when I've looked at that. And then spending at least an hour in the evening in the puja room that I have at my home, that's very important for me. Yeah, maybe that's my me time. If I don't spend that, then my job, everything is irrelevant for me. I'm not interested in anything. On Sundays, morning tea with my husband, that's very essential, with old Hindi songs playing in the background. Yes. Whether anyone else is there around.
One way of response which comes is you smash everything, which is becoming very popular nowadays. First you start with smashing outside, and gradually it begins to smash things inside too. Because what happens on the outside will happen inside very soon. And this is something, I don't know whether you have any Hindi songs, but consider, for us, this song is that is label, or it is another beautiful songs which I have come across, which are very special too. When it comes and leaps out, inspiration is
so I've retained thinking, spending time amidst nature and thinking about the wrongs done. I've retained praying, and then spending time. Okay, I didn't finish all the 5, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Then hugging my mother every now and then, any number of times in the day. I can't leave that. And
What happened?
It's beautiful, you check yours, because with old people, sometimes you become very impatient, and sometimes they really drive you crazy with their habits. More so when they are old and they forget a lot of things. It's the same thing you have to do every day. So it makes you impatient. Each time you hug, that impatience melts.
You bring
and
out
you check yourself that you don't have to be impatient. That person has limitations, and you don't have to limit yourself. So that is why I feel it is essential. Each time you move out of the house, come in, it's very, very important for them. For my mother at this stage, nothing is important. Money, she has no idea of. The only thing that she needs is that her family spends time with her. I've seen homes where people are taken very good care of. They have their own rooms, all kinds of comforts, but they long to spend time with the family. So that is ignorance of a certain kind which I don't want in my family. So when we are together, 4 of us, my husband, daughter-in-law, son, and all of us, then she has to sit with us in our room. So that's very important for me. That is why hugging her any number of times. Actually, nothing gets dropped out. I've rephrased it. So, and then the last is, again, evening before sleeping, old Hindi songs and hugging my children before they go to sleep. That's very important for me. Both my son, daughter-in-law. So now what I've dropped, I'll read what I have written. Again, number 1, thinking of the wrongs done by me while I'm amidst nature, my puja. And then beginning the day with a family hug. So I've taken care of the 2 points, so I've not left anything. And I've retained final, praying to find a solution to anything that made me unhappy during the day.
Very interesting. What we will do now is there anybody who is share? If not, we'll go on to the...
Purpose or work is most important in my life. Cannot live without that. Then proximity with nature. Then one quality, honesty. Like I find honesty. I would like to find honesty everywhere, including myself. With others and others, I would like. Then time spent with very close people, my family, friends. Then my silence time, meditation time, or
me time.
Right. Puja time.
Puja time.
All that.
Puja, silence, meditation.
So where I discover myself and finally all these things. Then I cut down to, then it's again purpose and work, cannot live without that. Then again nature, trees and all. Then again my me time, being. Now last is sitting in silence within nature to be myself.
For me, the first thing is my passion. Like I love to sing. Yeah, that's the time when I'm really happy, and I even plan a lot of things when I sing. So that is the thing which I cannot live without that. So first thing is that. Second thing, in the morning time, I wake up at around 4:30. I sit in my balcony for half an hour.
How many here wake up before 6 a.m.?
All of us. All of us.
Okay.
Most of us.
Before 5 a.m.?
Yes.
Before 4? You wake up before?
Sometime.
That's because you got a nightmare, but naturally. Part of you, every day you wake up at 6 o'clock. The people who are yet to get married, put up your hand. So out of you, how many wake up before 6? 5?
Because that's obviously that
You have to. Oh, because what is the starting time? 8:45? 7:30. Majburi hai. That is why. Fine. No, that will also be a reaction to somebody made you get up every day in the morning. So obviously the reaction will be the extreme opposite. Yes or no?
Yes. And the second thing is my workplace. I cannot live without my workplace. And basically in the workplace, I want that harmony should be there. People should be happy around me.
Okay.
So this
harmony or happy?
Happy.
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 Okay.
So
they are very clever. They would have put happy harmony. Can harmony be without happiness?
No.
Yes or no? Can there be a harmony without happiness? So we say fall in harmony, look how things are, and then gel in. And do we become unhappy ever when there is harmony?
There are people.
Even in spite of them being in harmony?
No.
Now I will phrase it a little slightly differently so that we will get an answer to that. So there is an harmony outside. There is a harmony inside. Yes? Which one are you talking about?
How much strange it may sound, there are people who are unhappy, but
Means that they are not in harmony with themselves?
Not in harmony with themselves.
There we have the answer.
Everybody around them is in harmony, but things are not happening according to themselves, how they wish, so they are not going to be happy. So yes, so as strange as it sounds, but
Interesting. Without inner harmony.
no.
For example, your thought is pulling you in one place, your heart says, oh, don't do this. Whatever she says, don't give in. And then you do what you want to do. And the body is all that it is interested is khana pina moj mein rehna. So all it needs is an AC figure. It shouldn't leak and it shouldn't too much sunshine nor too much rain. And all that is interested is this. If they are not in harmony, can you do something harmonious on the outside? When you are singing,
Yeah, I have.
when does the best song come out? You see, the direct connection. So, instead of going out and trying to change everything so that they can fall in harmony, yeah.
Sometimes when we are sad, then only you come into pressure, artists and creative people. When we are sad, then they are at their peak, the best paintings.
That is a deep question.
songs of broken heart.
Some of the best, let us agree on one thing. Some of the best songs have come when people are sad. This is what Sri Aurobindo says. I don't know how he got that insight. When people create out of sadness, what has happened is there is a reaction which was set in them. You remember what we are discussing? If 5 days you are forced to get up early in the morning, 6th day when you are given the freedom, what happens? You wake up late. Something inside, when you have too much happiness, we have to become aware of it. Otherwise what I say will not make sense. Something inside gets into the opposite because it doesn't want the sadness. And when it gets into a space, in a certain sense of harmony, and that is when even the sadness gets expressed in the most beautiful, extraordinary way. And when that happens, if something like that comes out, it can neutralize the sadness. After having produced and sung the most beautiful song of your life, can you still be sad? Because of the song. The thing that caused sadness will still be there, but you can face it without that sadness because what has come out of you is an important thing. I don't know if there are anybody here who write poetry or who sings beautifully like her. You can actually feel. Whenever you are unhappy, start singing.
Yeah, definitely we do that.
And why do we do that? If sadness is causing it, and then if we keep singing, then we keep sad all the time. It doesn't happen. The moment the song is over, you know that you are happy. You see, notice? So it is not out of sadness that the best creations are. Otherwise, all of us would love to be Devadas in our life, yes? Now, even in that, behind that sadness, there is something which still can produce something which is extraordinarily happy, and that is something that we are going to explore. So, looking at, you have some list, we will finish it and then take it up.
Ask basically because you. So when we harmonize our thoughts, I'm talking of sadness. When we harmonize, I don't know whether I've got it right or wrong, but when we have harmonized our thoughts, feelings, and words, then we harmonize them. And when we harmonize them, we create something beautiful. So that beautiful brings happiness to us, and we pull ourselves out of that sadness which would have otherwise caused disharmony in our being.
The happiness that is already there, which is trying to come out, gets disrupted when there is no harmony. So by bringing us back into harmony, we are expressing the happiness which is already there but which got disrupted in its expression. So it is not that we are getting happiness as a consequence. It is only when something hides this happiness do we end up by being sad. And what is that has come? The interruption. And that interruption is because of disharmony. Because one thing pulls in one direction, other thing in pulls direction. And just by bringing it into harmony, we are feeling that which is already there is not going to get something out of the result of that harmony. So,
then self-observation that I have to, because I believe in planning.
okay.
Morning time I sit and with a cup of coffee, or you can say a tea, and I plan for the whole day. That is must every day. Without that I can't function.
And the coffee? That's
coffee,
also must.
No, that is not must. But yes, a cup of tea. Yes, cup of tea.
A cup of
Fine,
tea?
Cup of tea.
Okay.
And that I make for myself only. And in the morning I sit and I plan the whole day.
Okay.
And then comes my self-observation, because I love to, go through each and everything, whatever I'm doing, whether it is fine, whether I'm in a right direction or not. That I want to know myself. That I sit and I observe. That is very important. And then I love to share with my family.
Okay.
Because I want my husband to be the part of everything. He should.
So it's a contract. He has to listen to you, otherwise he won't get the breakfast.
He also the same kind. If I don't, interact, I don't, share things, he will only ask me. "Aaj kuch hai nahi."
That means he's finding it interesting.
He finds
It's part of discovering.
And sometimes he will be, suggestions. Because it happens, if I miss out something, he's like me only. So he gives me suggestions. Why you do this like this?
Okay.
It's a very
Okay.
or also
Okay.
this is what I
Next one?
I want to have a goal.
Okay.
Without a goal, without I cannot.
The aim of life should be there.
So that I think the self-observation is one point which includes everything. If I have to, I don't know whether I'll be able to talk anything, because everything is interlinked.
Okay.
Passion, singing and everything, if you're sitting alone and you're doing all this thing, I don't think I'll be able to miss out any point.
And yet,
Yes.
musibat hai to
Which, what about
you're pushed into a corner because life is not always so. So which one would you say that less? So which are the ones which will become less? We'll start from there.
See, every day, what my work is like, I want to create something. So I love painting. I love singing. So in a day, if I don't get time, I can miss out that much.
Okay, that can become less. And which is the next one that can become less?
Is, it's very difficult to miss out. I'm sorry.
Somewhere mother said that we are not here to do the easy things, because in easy thing there is only a superficial joy. We can't be satisfied with that. Hello. It's working? I love if the hands are free, no? I can do a little bit of dancing and kathakali. Hello. And it is only in the deeper things that the deeper joy lies. And they are usually the more difficult ones. But because something is difficult, we are not going to let it go. And a little bit. So if I have to kind of summarize the discoveries that we have made, I will put them into two categories. There are a lot of things which are outside of us. Yes, mobile phone, where does it lie? Outside of us or inside you are carrying a mobile? Outside of us. When we put things on outside things, put value, more value on outside things, obviously there is no guarantee that the outside thing are going to be there with you all the time, most of the time. It's easy to snatch anything that is outside just like that. You have a mobile, that's fine. You have somebody whom you love, they may be there today, they may not be there tomorrow. It's a fact of life. We have to accept that. Anything that is on the outside can be taken away from you. And therefore, a little more importance is given to the things that are inside, but what we see on the inside, also few things can be taken away. For example, the singing. Let us say singing comes from inside or outside. When you get old or when you have some problem, some operation needs to be done, tonsils removal, and then the doctor will come and say that don't sing. Is there anything in us which nobody can take it away from us? If there is something, we need to discover that and understand what it is. These are all too high sounding words for me, because we won't make one thing, which is use a word without really having any grasp of it. Because in the name of philosophy, we have picked up a lot of things like that. Consciousness. What is consciousness? Can anybody tell me? That's another word. Self-awareness is only consciousness. And what about things that are not self? When you become aware of everything outside, is it still part of your consciousness? Yes. So it is not exactly self-awareness. Awareness is another word perhaps. What color is it? Can you smell consciousness? Can you see it? Touch, taste? So it's not something which is you can feel with your senses. Yes or no? What is this consciousness? What does it do? Does it mess up our life? Or does it make it easier? Soul, that is another name. What color is this soul? Does our soul also look somewhat like us? Or perhaps one nose more and a couple of ears more? What does this soul look like? Sometimes people have given words to us so that we don't think and discover it for ourselves, frankly speaking. But we are in an age where we are not going to accept mere words. It may or may not have something depth behind it, but if it's relevant, if it's part, first we will try to have the experience and understand that, and then we can come up with a name. And anyway, if you give a name, another person is going to give another name. Yes or no? I don't know. There is any word take up in my language, you are going to call the same thing in your language. Appam. You know what appam is? She's a Mallu. That's why, see? You have a different name. But because you have different name, I can actually start with you. No, that's not what I meant. It is called appam. No, you say that no, it is called, what is appam called in this language, Hindi? They will have something else. Simple as that. And we might end up fighting with each other. But if I take out appam and take out a little piece and put it in your mouth, and then we are in blissful harmony, then I can say that whatever you call it, is this what you mean? Yes. So you can have 100 names for it. Is this what you mean? Yes. You can have your own name for it because we are talking about the same thing. When does that happen? When we experience it. It's because we have never experienced that there are so many divisions. I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm Christian and Muslim and Hindu. Truth is there behind. People who have experienced the truth, they don't quarrel with each other. But people who give too much importance to the names and forms, they end up quarreling. Is there something within us which is all the time with us? If, I'm not asking you to answer, if, I'm putting an if there is something, we should explore what is the quality and the nature of this thing, and is it worth having a part in my life? What is there? What comes from there? Or what are the things that are there? Can we discover? Because if it is worthwhile, what is the implications? You are having something which no other power in the world can take away from you. Even the strongest person on the outside doesn't have the capacity to take it away because he doesn't have a reach on the inside in your depths. If you have 1 million rupees or thousands of rupees in the bank balance, people can snatch it away from you. But what is here inside, once you discover, once you own it, nothing in this world can take away. If that is so, what is its nature? And if that is something beautiful, which gives, perhaps, I don't know what it contains. It might contain answers to what is the purpose of my life. It might contain answers to how to be in harmony with everything. It might contain answers how not to be sad. I don't know. And it is important for us to discover these things. And people whom we call, rishis and munis and tapaswins, they have taken years and years where they have gone to a place, they didn't want to get disturbed, they closed their eyes, and then they were looking on the inside for that something which is the source of everything. And they were engaged as scientists meticulously for years together, and then they discovered something extraordinary. And when they come out, and when we have people like the mother coming and saying, the mother gives it a beautiful name to that which is there, deep within, which nobody can take it away, and nobody on the outside can change what it is. Only it wants to change itself, it can do. Mother gives it the name genius. There is a genius inside every one of us. We can never say that only she has genius and she doesn't have. We can't even say that she has a little more and then she has a little less. There is a genius within every one of us, and it is from that genius that everything good in this world has come out. The most beautiful poetry, the extraordinarily beautiful dance, art, literature, poems, song, you name it, even the most beautiful love has also come from that source. What is the nature of, somebody said, unconditional love? What is this unconditional love? When we look at people who have been in touch with it, who have been there, if you want to know how America feels, you have to get hold of a person who has been there, and he can tell you what it is about. The thing I wanted to say is it's extremely difficult to love even two people unconditionally, because I know the type of fights that I had with siblings. Whenever they get their birthday present, I will go all over. He got a little bigger present than me, and then 2 days is over. He got a little costlier present than me, it's over. And even among ourselves, when we have friends like that, several, oh, you spent all the time with that other person. You're not spending time with me that much. Oh, ignoring me. All the things come. It's so difficult to love even two people unconditionally without ending up conflicted. Now here is somebody, the Buddha, in his time, he has loved thousands of people. Each one of them felt they are completely unconditionally loved. And we are talking about when he lived. But what happens after that? It's nearly 2000 years are over. Even now, if you close your eyes and think of Buddha, you can actually feel the love that he left in the air, because the quality of the love that he brought out was so unconditional, so infinite, that what he left is still here, just a little tuning, and we can feel it. The Buddhists can feel it. And such a stupendous amount of love, where did it come from? And the Buddha had the secret. He said it comes from the depth, from that inner genius. Can we also not feel a glimpse of it? Probably we will do a little bit of activity and then we will go into it. So we are going to discover what comes from inside. Where is the thing? Yeah. So I'm going to request all of you to close your eyes. This is an activity, no cheating, and we are going to discover something beautiful. And after closing your eyes, you have to put out your hands, because something is going to land on your hands, and I assure you it's not going to crawl on your hands. Okay? And once you have it, no whispering even, you're going to take it a little closer to your nose and then smell it. But don't tell what it is. Don't tell. Silence. Quiet. No, not it. Nothing, no action from you. Just follow the instructions carefully, because we are explorers. You might get lost on the way unless you follow a certain path. You have it? Close your eyes and something will come. You have already seen it, but still. Once you have smelt it, open your mouth and put it inside and experience it as comprehensively and fully as possible. Just give yourself up to the experience of it. You experience it in such a way that after the experience, nothing should be left. The whole goes inside. Yes, yes. And allow the experience to reach its completion, and the completion is when it disappears. Focus, concentrate, don't let go of any part of that experience, completely focused, gathered, one-pointed. Give yourself up to every part of that experience and follow the sequence and follow all of it during sensations, post result, and if you feel like smiling, go ahead and smile. Once you are completely done with the experiment, with the activity, you can gently open your eyes once that experience has reached its culmination, its conclusion. So what was it? I thought everybody will say just chocolate, but in chocolate, coffee bite with this flavor, that is the level which we are. It's a dairy milk. You can identify that? Excellent. How did it taste? Who are the chocolate lovers here? But did it make you happy? Yes. I have only one question to ask. You felt happy, right? So those who have not felt happy, anybody here who are unhappy? Because I know there might be some who do not like chocolate that much. There are people who are neutral, but 90% is chocolate lovers, which is fine.
I would like to say something. I'm not a chocolate fan, but what I really enjoyed was why everybody was having the chocolate each time.
Yes.
And I could feel the happiness around.
Really?
Everyone was having this enjoy, and I could hear the sounds of, enjoying chocolate.
Happy murmurs and happy something like that. Interesting. Have you ever felt the happiness around you? And what makes that you also happy? Interesting. Contagious. Happiness is highly contagious. So don't go near a happy person if you want to be sad. But I'm going to ask you a question, that where did the happiness come from? Are you sure? Because I would not have given you the chocolate if I had known that happiness is already in you. So I can just ask you, now come on, for the next 5 minutes, let us everybody be happy. Are you sure? That there's not a secret ingredient. There is a recipe where for that 50 milligrams, they add 5 grams of what is called happiness in it. What does chocolate contain? Cocoa, milk, solid, sugar. Are you sure there is not one more item called happiness which they add and then you get it when you eat? And then in and through it you get happiness. It was only 5 milligrams. They could have given 10 milligrams. I would have been happier. Was happiness part of the chocolate? If the happiness was not in the chocolate, where did it come from? You say inside. From where did it come from the inside? We don't know. We don't know. We have never experienced anything in this way, isn't it? So which means that we have to become scientists and we are going to track that inch by inch, step by step, because we might stumble upon some fantastic discovery. So when you put the chocolate into your mouth, on the tongue, what happened to the chocolate? It tingled your taste buds. You got something from the chocolate. What was it? Sweetness? Excellent. And what happened to that sweetness from the chocolate? Where did it go? How did it happen? So when the sweetness from the chocolate got transferred to the tongue, did you find that sweetness all over the tongue or only on one part of the tongue? Have you really experienced? Because these scientist people know, they say no, only in one part you can find sweetness. Where is the? We think that you are feeling it all over, but it may not be, and I have a very good reason that it is actually not, because you are thinking that you are getting it because it's too overwhelming, because you focused on it. Everywhere you can feel sweetness.
No. I actually felt that all these years I had not eaten chocolate the way I ate today. And I first put it in the center. I discovered something, and I was really feeling how many people are going to share their experience. Maybe it is slightly different. So I put it in the center, and then I felt it was sticking to the roof of my mouth. So I put it on the left side. Initially, I had not put it on the left side because I felt it would harm my teeth. But then, when that was my reason for keeping it in the center, when it started sticking there, and I felt that it was melting very quickly. So I put it on the left side of my mouth, fearing one tooth which is like not very proper that side. And after a while I felt the right side is not enjoying this. So then I actually did this. So then I shifted it to the right side, and I felt let the right side also feel this. And then it became smaller. So I brought it to the,
left
in
side.
front of my mouth. No, in the center this time.
Okay.
So it stopped sticking to the roof of my mouth.
Yes.
So, and at the end of it, I was very happy that the whole mouth has had a this is what I actually felt. And then I repented. I want to share one more thing with you all. That Shivda had... No, I'm coming to something else.
Yeah.
So, Shiv Kumar ji had sent this list of things that he wanted. So I got this mail from him last afternoon, and he had mentioned dairy milk silk. Frankly, frankly, I'm very fond of chocolates, but I avoid eating them because I know the weight I put on. But I could not control my urge to have it, and in the evening, I finished my dinner in a hurry, quickly took out the chocolate, and I had it at home. And I offered to everybody in the family. Everyone had one cube. I had two. In a hurry. And over here when I was sitting, I really felt what a fool I am. I could have easily eaten just one. The way I was eating like this, I could have eaten and restrained myself and eaten just one. So this is what I felt.
Very interesting. So we are tracking. We have reached sweetness. Sweetness is a taste. Sweetness comes from chocolate, but not happiness. Yes or no? Did the happiness come from the chocolate? So there is some connection with sweetness and happiness. Somewhere inside us, sweetness became happiness. Who can tell me how that happened? Would anybody would like to share how it happened? From the moment you felt sweetness, when did it become happiness?
When you became aware of it.
So like a scientist, going step by step, just track it and tell me, I will help you. यहाँ दे दीजिए. So your tongue, not everywhere, probably one part of the tongue at least, felt that sweetness, and then what happened to you?
Then taste buds send the message to the mind. Oh.
Now, were you able to track that message?
Yeah, of course.
Did it go to the mind or did it go to somewhere else?
Heart. Heart.
Boxes I feel, that is what I feel. I feel in the heart there are
Boxes of chocolate inside. No.
So where you can feel, like the moment it went, it triggered that happiness.
So how did it trigger? How did it reach the heart?
The brain.
No, this is theory. Did you feel? This is book knowledge. Nah, Venda. Were you able to track that message being sent to? You actually felt the message going to the brain? Excellent. And then what happened? Did the happiness...
I was just enjoying eating it like I never did before.
Did the conversion of sweetness into happiness happened in your brain? Is where I'm trying to arrive at. Where did it happen? Did you feel the happiness somewhere here, in the head? It's getting a little heated up and then suddenly you feel all happiness. Where did you feel the happiness?
Except enjoying that thing.
Where did the enjoyment take place inside you? Was it in the brain? Here? I'm just asking you, did anybody feel happiness from bottoms here, below hip? Just asking. Wait, there's a question you have to answer. Did anybody feel happiness from here below? Interesting. When you have a feeling, somewhere it is not connected to here. But you had the feeling, and the feeling was connected to somewhere above. That is the question we need to... Can we agree? Yes. And the happiness feeling, if you go a little deeper, actually, if we have time, I could have given you another something else and made you track, so that this is what we mean by education. What Mother says is beautiful. In the very first chapter, Science of Living, she gives one phrase, which is what we mean by education. Within brackets, do you remember that book on education? I'm going to show you: to know oneself and to control oneself. Why? Two things. Because if you don't know, you cannot control.
Break for lunch.
Really? we can take a little more time, fine. It's interesting. She put it in...
Ancient Greece. On today. And it's laid on the first floor, B block, adjacent to the main staff room.
To know oneself, then only you will be able to control oneself. You want to be happy, you want to control when you are happy, how much you are happy. You can't do that unless and until you know where it... If you think that the happiness is in the chocolate, you won't get it all the time.
It's laid on the first floor, B block, adjacent to the main staff room.
Do you get what I am arriving at? If you think that the happiness is coming from this person, this, they give us experiences. Something inside our unhappiness, and if you know where it comes from, we can actually control the outcome. If I know when an experience happens, I can receive it from such a space that I am happy. If I know that this is where happiness is, I can choose to remain in touch with happiness all the time, irrespective of what happens on the outside. Somebody comes, gali de rahe hain, I can even still smile at him. Poor one, he will get more irritated and he will go away. Something sad happens, I may not smile outside because something sad is happening, but I can choose to stay with the happiness if I know where that happiness is. But it is important for us to know where that happiness is. Suppose if I had given you the thing that you loved most, what will be the quantity of happiness? Now itself is, I can see when you immersively experience something. But if I had given you or made you go through something that you love the most, the bestest, it will be unlimited. And even if it is unlimited, do you think it's coming from outside? Where did that unlimited feeling of unlimited happiness happens? On the inside. So happiness is there, but how much happiness does each one of us have? Not that, no, I have only this much happiness, so whatever you do, I will feel only happy. I will only smile, and then that's it, not more than that. And this, she has too much happiness inside, and she is able to bring out. Is it like that? Every one of us has something which has touched so profoundly, deeply, and would have made us infinitely happy. We get overwhelmed. Anybody here gets overwhelmed with happiness? Has it ever happened to you? Yeah? Because happiness is too much. And where does it come from? It comes from inside. Every one of us have that happiness. Only thing is, we are not able to bring it out by ourselves. We need triggers. Like मुझे husband चाहिए, wife चाहिए, beta, and then good education, lots of money, and lots of food, mobile phone, and 2 cars and 2 bungalows. All that we are actually, in a certain sense, they give us experiences. But the happiness happens on the inside. And this is an important discovery that we have to make. If we get in touch with that part, which the mother calls as the inner genius, and then stay with it, we are in a state of happiness, whatever happens on the outside. When you are happy, do you get more energy for what you do or less energy? It's usually when you are sad, what do you know? You sulk and then you remain in a corner. No, I don't want to do anything. Mujhe chhod do. I want to be with my sadness. That's what you say, isn't it? But when you are happy, you don't feel like sitting in a corner. Whenever you are full of something, you know that you are full of something, it comes out. You can't keep it inside. Yes or no? Have you come across people who are too good at music? So when you come across them and you start a conversation with them, 5 minutes you can talk politics. 6th minute, what will happen? Oh, did you listen to that song? Music will come out. Because the person is filled with music, and if we get in touch with that unlimited happiness on the inside, and when we know that it is so much, it cannot but come out. How can it come out? It can come out in a million different ways. When we can feel that we are filled with that happiness, when we speak, the happiness will come through. It's not the words that are coming out, and what writes the words is the happiness. When we do something, there is joy. That is, when we sing a song, it's filled with happy. When you are truly happy, things fall into place. And that is the discovery which we have to make, and it is worth making. And once we discovered it, I'm forcing your body to sit in a place which is not a good thing to do. But if you get up and then move around, relax, and whatever you want to do, you can do it for the next 5 minutes and then come back. Probably sip a little bit of water, and then we will have 20 minutes of interaction. Was it a discovery you were making?
Yes.
Happiness is? First, happiness is? Inside. And it is only triggered by outside. And then happiness is? Then at least from tomorrow onwards, I start taking out this happiness little by little. How do I? The mind has the habit of, making plans, and then. But the heart will say that, oh, I'm going to try it with my mother-in-law, and then all the in-laws and outlaws who are there. I'm going to try that. I'm going to show them that I'm happy, come what may. Even when they scold me or when they are not agreeable or understanding me, I'm still going to be happy. That decision is yours. The body will say that, oh, I have my own happiness. But you will have to invoke that happiness in the body so that it too participates. Like how Ramanati said, a hug. Wonderful thing, provided it is an expression of that happiness. And usually sometimes we fantasize also. So we are in a condition of fantasy now. We have to call our mind back if it is somewhere else. Allow our heart to settle down. And the body is the only one which listens immediately, because it stays put. If you put it, it stays put. I can't say the same thing about your heart or your mind. So we call our mind back. We ask our emotions to settle down. And then we are here. We do it with silence and with our eyes closed. And in 1 minute, gather yourself. Thank you. So what we discovered, that the happiness is on the inside, is something that we have to practice, and then more and more of it comes. Then we have to ask one more question. If happiness is on the inside, why all those things on the outside? Can we not do away with all those? So I won't sit in a corner, and I know that happiness is on the inside, and I get blissed out in one corner, or go to a mountain, or go to somewhere Himalayas, and then sit, and then you are happy. there is a beautiful line from Sri Aurobindo which says, which we have touched upon. He says, a happiness that is not shared with others is imperfect. Savitri, line from Savitri. It is happiness, but usme se ek gun kam, little happiness. It's not yet the full complete happiness. A happiness that is not shared with others. On the one hand, anything that we have, good, beautiful, noble, if we don't share it with others, it is not yet perfect. And that is why we are here, and when we are here, we have the option. We allow the trigger to control our happiness, or we keep it as a choice. I know that if the mobile is with me, it does trigger happiness. But suppose if I lose my mobile phone, I lost only the trigger. And at that time, I still have the capacity to remain happy even if it is lost, and I have to do a few things extra. So all the things outside becomes optional choice. It doesn't mean that my happiness depends on others. I can have happiness in myself whenever I want to, but there is a little extra joy when it happens with others. This is also needed when you have to take out a little bit of time. When you said me time, no, I was so happy because every second of me time should be filled with happiness, because what is there in me? What is there in me? Happiness. And therefore every second I spend with myself should result in happiness. And the same thing will have to happen outside too. When I'm with everybody, then also it's a different type of happiness also happens. And once that happens, this happiness nobody can take away from me. That happiness comes and goes, but it does happen because of its trigger. Once we understand this, then we are good. So that we don't have to say no to happiness. Somebody comes and gives you, take a nice ice cream. You don't have to say, no, happiness is inside me. I don't want this ice cream to be happy. No, allow the trigger. Only while you are having it and about to scoop into your mouth, if somebody comes and snatches it away, don't feel sad. Option. Yes, that is what we are trying to do. But what I wanted to share with you is, integral education is, in a certain sense, I told you, it is what we do with ourselves. First and foremost, and along a long way, when we fill ourselves with something, it is going to overflow. And what overflows is what we call the integral education in the classroom. Yes? It's an overflow. It's not that something like integral education is happening in the classroom. Only if you are full will it ever flow. You call whatever activities that you have, whatever project method or whatever you do it, if this doesn't overflow, it's just a few techniques, it's not integral education. So you might come and say that, I do project method in my class and I do this and that and that. None of them are actually integral education. And yet, everything could become an integral education when it is an overflow. Which means integral education has to be a result of what I call as integral life that we lead. Integration matlab jodna. What is this integral life? We are connected with the happiness. And we are choosing life as an expression of our happiness. That is integral life. And when we get connected with what is inside, does only happiness happen? Actually, if you see children growing up, from the moment, how many here have children, have given birth to children? Yes. So as soon as the child is born, do you think you have to give a lecture on everything that the child does? Beta, on the first day, you have to open your eyes, and second day, you start listening to whatever sound is there, and then you have to touch and feel that this is your mama, touch, don't misunderstand, know that it is your mama. Do we have to lecture? That knowledge is inbuilt, it comes out spontaneously, but you encourage it. And at that initial few ages, when does a child choose to flip over, you cannot decide, yes or no? Oh, that's a big moment in Tamil Nadu where I come. First time the child flips over, there is a kind of a bomb explosion happens. Oh, he has flipped over all by himself, and that's a momentous one. And then when the child wants to get up, you know how many muscles need to be activated? You cannot build a robo which does what a child does and it is too high a technology. How does a child does it? Where does a child get the knowledge that I have to activate this muscle and then this bone, I have to pump this much blood and this is how I digest, I have to get energy. There is something inside the child which knows precisely when is the right time for it to do. Until that happens, when a child has to get up, first 100 times it will fall, it will hurt. Yes or no?
Yes.
How many times? And it's not failing, but it is building up the muscles. And without that, the muscles will not get built up, and therefore something inside is pushing the child. When the time comes, even if it falls 100 times, it will still want to get up because the inside thing knows that at some point it has exercised the muscles and now the child can get up. Walk, climb, speech when it is coming out. Such a beautiful, precise way it happens. How does a child know how to do it? And somehow when the child reaches 3 or 5 years, then we think he has to be put in a school. Who was teaching the child until he became 3? Something inside the child which knows precisely how it has to be done. So this is such a complex mechanism. It knows precisely when to unfold. Every emotion, every thought, every action that takes place, it knows when to unleash it. Only thing, it's a little weak. You can overpower. And from outside, all that we can do is encourage. So much so that, even the speech, when it will be saying something like Gaga, and then immediately say, oh, he says mama, mama, and then up to, you encourage it, and out of that encouragement, finally he will end up saying mama. And that teacher inside the child is the only teacher in integral education. But if you have to have any clue about that teacher, you should have felt that teacher inside you, guiding you in your integral life. We have to get connected with it. Without it, integral education is just a fantasy. You might claim that you are doing integral education, but it's not happening in the way in which it should be. And therefore, we have to start with a lifestyle which promotes. You can't have, split personalities. Sorry to say, in a jocular way. So, you can't have Ram inside and Ravan outside. As soon as you walk into the classroom, you are all, oh, I have to be an example of the child, and you smile, and then you don't lose your temper. You are all like, no, good angel. But the moment you step outside, then I can be myself. It's not going to work that way. If you think that when I am with children, I will have to behave properly, and when outside, I can be myself, there is only one person in you. Eventually, if outside you lose your temper, inside eventually you will lose your temper. It's going to happen today or tomorrow. There's only one person, there's only one life. There's no switch that you can flip it and then enter into a classroom and then you can become an angel, an example for a child, and when you come outside, you can do whatever you want. And that will be a result of building up a lifestyle, and we start from there. And if we have to build up a lifestyle, then that life will continue in your home, wherever you are, whatever background you are from, and it will continue when you step into the school and then relate with each other and the children too. Because it is one life you have, and it's up to you to make it integral or fragmented. You want to make it happy as an expression of happiness, or a kind of a roller coaster ride. And in order to do that, what can we do? Because once I have taken integral education out of the classroom and put it in your life, it starts from there. What are the things that we can do? Has anybody any suggestions? Come up with something. Anything which achieves what I have told you, puts you in touch with something inside, you feel deeply calm, quiet at some time, you feel happy, anything that makes you. Let us hear some of the things that you feel that we have to make it part of our life. I'm doing a little bit, but it has to be a little more.
Find out where we are lacking behind and then work on those.
I will give a framework and then we will. Yeah? What should we do with the body? Because why I am telling is, you as a single teacher, when you go into the classroom, you create some effect. But all the teachers follow the same approach and same attitude, it dynamizes the whole atmosphere. Because when I say school or any place, it always has three atmospheres. One is the physical atmosphere. You know, there's a classroom, there's a chair, there's a table, it's leaking there, and you put this. This anybody can do. People from outside also can do. If he is good at it, he can create the physical atmosphere. But much more important is the psychological atmosphere, and that can be created only by the people inside. No outside person come and then says that I am creating a psychological atmosphere and then go. Because when I say psychological atmosphere, it's going to be decided by what you think and what you feel and then how you live. As simple as that. Just as in this space, we have to build it brick by brick. In the same way, the psychological atmosphere also we have to build it brick by brick through all the little things that we do. Our anger, our irritation, our happiness, our sadness, all are building blocks. And if there are somewhere there is a negative element, it's like somewhere if the patching up is not done, it's going to leak. We are going to suffer. So in order to create that, at least three things we will have to do. One, first thing, the basis of everything is we have to maintain our body at its peak. Now how do we do that? It has to become part of your life. How important is it? If the base is not there, if the body is not healthy and at its maximum fitness, it's going to fail. After 40, you will get all the diseases in the world. And we have to take out sufficient time to take care of our body. How do we do that? Exercise.
Healthy living.
Some of you, if you thought only exercise will make it happen, no.
Healthy food, healthy diet.
Can we make a list of things that you have to focus on? Now, how to do it will be something that you can take it up in your weekly classes, or it becomes actually a nice get-together for all of you just to visit out. So, exercise definitely. Let's start with exercise.
Right thoughts.
Now, you will have to figure out what type of exercise because it's not going to be the same. Somebody who have access to yogasanas, you will have to. Somebody gym, go ahead. Bicycling, go ahead. Walking, you will have to figure out how you want to do it, but it has to be done. Okay? Now, I'm talking about body. Then?
Because our thoughts affect our body. If we...
Well, having nice, positive, happy thoughts.
Yes. It will definitely affect your body.
Okay, happy thoughts. So happy thoughts influence the body. Anything else?
Healthy food.
Food. No, okay, we forget that. Specifically, one specifics, like 4 things you say. For example, in a normal daily routine, I have to have exercise, I have to have at least 80% has to be health food. 20% you can afford if you stick to the 80%.
Proper sleep.
Sleep? Anything else? Yes? Happiness. So happy feelings. Happy thoughts, happy feelings is fine. I'm looking at things that we can physically do for the physicality. This definitely. Anything else?
Awareness of your body parts and that kind of strength.
She says awareness. Now we are coming to where we started. Awareness leads to no. What is the first phase of the method? To know oneself. If you are aware, we can to know oneself and to
Control.
Control. Awareness leads to control. When we become aware of it, then we can work on it and try to control it. If you don't know what happens where, if you get an upset stomach, and if you don't know why it has happened, how can you control? Isn't it? So, first and foremost, exercise, how awareness is how important. If you are not aware of our body, you will end up overdoing the exercise. Yes or no? If you are about food, I know people who take 10 to 15 times the green tea every day because somebody has said it is very healthy. Oh, the more of healthy food will give you more happiness or more awareness. Not like that, okay? Food. Sleep also. The awareness of what type of sleep, how much you have to sleep, and if that is not there,
relaxation.
And how does one relax so that one gets the best sleep? Something simple question. How many of you relax before you sleep? When you hit the bed, it is like, oh God, and then or do you take care to relax yourself? Do you actually relax yourself or just let it go? Why I am telling it, there could be lots of tensions. You did some extra work, here there is a tension, here there is a tension. If you have not relaxed it, part of your nightmare is going to come from there. How many relax it methodically? Now we are talking. What do you do?
Before going to bed, I always have like this TV show that I love. And I've been watching it for like years, so I just put it on, I watch it for half an hour and then sleep.
So that relaxes you?
Yeah, it relaxes.
For few of them, reading books is relaxing. Once you, if you are in habit of reading, once you listening music.
You get it, what I am trying to communicate. Without relaxation, if you go, lot of tension points will create a nightmare. You will wake up the next morning more tired than when you went into sleep. Yes? Awareness is the key. Exercise, food, sleep and relaxation, happy thoughts, happy feelings. Anything else that you should do as a community? Please just put up your hand. Cleanliness. It's part of food. And environment also. Cleanliness and hygiene. Food should be balanced. Everybody's needs are different. What is good for one person, because somebody eats paratha, that doesn't mean that paratha is good for everybody. And each one will have to find out. And to find out, the key is awareness. There are lots of exercises also. If you take up an exercise suits you and stick with it, your awareness increases. Then you know what is good or what is bad for you. Yes? Anything else? Anything else? It's easy, relatively easy to arrive at a list of things that we should do with the body. So apart from body, what other things do we have? We have emotions.
Yes.
And we have thoughts too. Well, if I enter into it, we will have to arrive at a synthesis of what we should do in those, and then it becomes an integral life. I will stop here. Just I am putting forward the need that you need to change, as she said, your lifestyle, and lifestyle change would include working on the body, working on the emotions, working on your thoughts. Any questions? Anything else that you would like to ask?
My genius, because most of the time we appreciate others, we see the genius in other people. How to know my genius?
The key towards finding the genius is you start with what you like and what you don't like. At least that much list you should be able to come up with, isn't it? So you come up with a list of 10 things that you like, 10 things you don't like, and then out of the 10 things that you like, which is the one that you like the best, the most? The one thing which if you don't do it, you feel like, no, I'm missing out something in my life. You remember how we arrived at 5 most important things? And once you stick to that, once you understand what is the most liked one, you have to stick with it until something else you become aware of which gives you more happiness than that. The thing that makes you most happy is your genius. It can be one or it can be more than one. That's why we started with the list. So we shouldn't have to think that I have to arrive only at one thing, it can be more also. So we start with what we like and what we dislike. And when do we feel happy? By doing what? That will give you a clue.
I want to ask that, is meditation always through silence? Is it possible that a person can meditate through reading or music or just doing something you love? Because for me it is very difficult to meditate in silence. I might read a book and that is meditation. I might spend time with someone.
Do you have that? I will summarize the question if you have not heard.
Silence can be overwhelming because sometimes you're bombarded with a lot of thoughts and you don't know how to organize them. So I just wanted to ask that, how to achieve?
Okay. So there are two things we have to understand: meditation and concentration. What we mean by concentration is focusing of our energies and knowing how to do it. Now when we are able to do it with one thing, one object in our mind, that's what usually we call it meditation. Not much of a difference. So we take up something and stay with it, whether it is silence or how do I become successful in life. You can take that up as a topic, meditate on it, and then something gets revealed. This is how, and you figure out where you want to go and how you want to go. So it is basically a question of taking up something and staying with it. And that can happen initially a little more quickly, in a certain sense, when you do it by making yourself a little silent. So you will not be able to focus completely when you are jumping around and you are in a very excited state. And it's very difficult to focus on one thing when you are excited. You have noticed it in children? So it's like a monkey, it keeps jumping this and that. There are a lot of things which are jumping. When things are jumping inside us, I have 10 things to worry about. I won't be able to focus on one thing with my mind. So the first thing is, it is suggested that you make things a little quiet. And the easiest to make quiet is the body, because you just have to know how to sit together without getting disturbed. And the second thing is to make your mind also a little quiet. That's what they recommend. We'll come to that. Emotions, if it's easier, so you be in a kind of a neutral state, not overly joyous or overly sad. So you are there settled. And then when you look into these two, already becomes a help for you to become aware of your thought. Because this is not interfering, emotions are not interfering, only thing left is mind, it's thoughts. So when you become aware of the thoughts, awareness leads to control. There's only one thing, and then you know how to tell that thought chup, and then it becomes chup. But having said that, once we have practiced this, then we can choose to do whatever we want to do, and still we will remain focused. So then the body is not jumping around, but it is dynamically active the way in which I want to. And still inside I'm happy, I'm not disturbed. Then the calmness outside becomes calmness inside. We don't want outside calm. Who wants to be outside all the time calm? Which means that he is not going to do anything, and then he might better be like this table or chair, because how calmly the table is sitting, chair is sitting. But that is a necessary stage before we make the calmness as something inside. Calmness, silence is never meant to be on the outside. Outside we are meant to be the most dynamic people. But if we only become dynamic, it's like jumping around, we get fragmented. Something inside is not settled. That is why initially we arrive at it. Once we are done it, we are in a meditative state when we are walking, when we are talking, when we are singing, when we are drawing, when we are writing poems, and whatever you do, you can be. So yes, talking can become meditative, provided you do that first. Does it make sense? You start with outside calm, outside thing, You organize things on the outside. If you want to meditate, organize everything on the outside, particular asanas and deepam and then some mantra. Organize everything. All the things outside are a help, and at some point it becomes a help towards internalizing. Once you are completely organized on the inside, then you can express yourself in multiple ways. You can multitask quite nicely. Yes.
Sir, even though happiness lies inside us and it's about awareness and all those things.
Not necessarily. We found that there are lots of triggers on the outside through which we can get happiness too.
Yes. But sometimes being sad or the emotion of sadness is inevitable.
Yes.
Right? And all of us experience it, and at some point it's somehow necessary also to address that emotion.
Well, first let us agree that it is inevitable. Whether it is necessary or not, I'm a little doubtful we will get there.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's inevitable.
Yes.
My question is, and something personally I'm trying to achieve is like, where and how to achieve or know where to stop. So it is inevitable, it is there, we are going to experience it. But the problem arises when we don't know where to stop experiencing that emotion, because then that leads to further thinking, and then that entire process of metacognition starts taking place.
Yes.
So the process, or to know when to stop and where to stop,
so that we don't end up overdoing it, because overdoing becomes a negative consequence.
Yes.
Right. Fine. So sadness is inevitable. Whether it is necessary or not depends on what happens. If it is inevitable, we can't avoid it in the initial stages at least. Let's be. So whenever we go out of happiness, we make an effort to come back. Use whatever it is. You think about the session and how it triggers, and then you work it out yourself, and it is possible to come back. And the point she says is, whenever we come back like that and once again get in touch with that happiness, I told you the source of happiness doesn't have only happiness. In a child it happens. Yes, how beautifully the growth of the child is taken care of by that wisdom. Are you a mother? Okay, so you check up with others that the less the mothers interfere, the better the child grows. Mother becomes a support. That's it. But she cannot make the child grow in a certain way. That's why. And the child knows how it wants to grow. Only it may not be able to tell you, Mama, this is how I want to grow, so please don't trouble me too much. It won't. That is it. So when the wisdom is also activated, then the wisdom knows precisely what is to be done, how much it is to be done, when it is to be done, where it is to be done. That's why it's not only happiness. It's happiness and wisdom. And not only that, all that we put inside, food and this and that, it converts into something which we call it as energy. You put one paratha, and then what happens to the paratha? It becomes energy. What we put is paratha, something inside generates that energy out of it, and it is a source of energy too. Power. And in the same way, if we can stick to even these three, we are on the right track. Is it some important announcement? Did anybody catch it? If they have said that don't step outside, there is danger waiting, I would like to know. Everybody, not a single person, you people are already meditating. But when you are interested in what is happening, meditation happens naturally, and that's the key. When we are interested in something, meditation is natural. How to make things natural to the child? Then they automatically enter into a meditative state. Meditation is natural for a child. Even 3, 4, 5-year-old child can enter into a state of meditation. Have you noticed a child, when you are having a party at the home, a child has got something to bang around, and even if some Allah is going everywhere around, the child is undisturbed and he is meditating on the toy. Natural. Only thing, he is not able to sustain it over a period of time. That's what has to grow. But the capacity to meditate is natural in the child, and it's still somewhere there inside all of us too. We don't know how to bring it out. We'll conclude. Already 15 minutes extra. So we all will thank the mother for giving us such a beautiful opportunity, and in the name of integral education, This is a lifetime project, by the way, so most fulfilling. If not this, what else? What else could satisfy us? And this gives the answers to everything. And if it is the one thing that we have to bring about, it is this: an integral lifestyle leading to integral education. Remain quiet.
Enjoy the sixth period. Enjoy the sixth period.
Thank you. So when we are happy, when things are settled, the quality of silence is so different. One standing invitation: please come to Pondicherry with or without family, and even with friends also. Whenever it's possible, try to make it. Thank you so much.
On behalf of all the teachers, I would like to pay gratitude to Shivda for taking us to a new realm of integral education. As we all know, up till now, we had taken it as a theory, as principles, 3 principles, and we were making lesson plans based on it. But now we have understood that we have to imbibe it into us to have an integral lifestyle to deliver integral education to our children.
Lesson plan is useless
Now, lesson
until
plans,
you make life plans.
this is what I was about to say. Now, up till now, we were making LPs based on integral education. Now we have to make LPs for ourselves to adopt an integral lifestyle. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.